go. Okay. I have new people with me today, if you can't tell. Who are you people?
I'm Hannah.
I'm Sam.
Okay.
And I'm still Jamie, but...
Oh,
You
yeah,
are
and I'm the treasurer.
yes. I promise when I get new money, I'll actually tell you what we have.
I'm just Hannah. Okay. We thought that since this was the January podcast, we'd start off with talking about the new year. We're going to talk about the new year. Do you have, like, a New Year's resolution?
I don't have a resolution per se, but I am trying to exercise 2 to 3 times a week. So,
Nice. That's a good one.
How
A
about
lot
you?
of people.
If it kills me, I'm going to organize my house. But that's not so much a resolution as it is a to-do list.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can make it a New Year's thing to, like, keep it clean.
Next
You know.
year, if I get it clean this year.
Fair enough.
Like, first it has to be clean.
Mine's kind of just, like, establishing good habits, you know, and, like, self-care, always. I've been taking a lot more self-care days now that I don't go to school, like, every single day. It's really fun. I do lots of fun things. But I think a lot of people use exercise in the new year. I don't know how many people actually stick with it, though.
Generally, almost nobody.
Well, one year I made it a resolution to not eat meat. Like, I was vegetarian for a whole year, and I actually stuck to it, which was really weird because I was like 12 too.
Year?
Yeah, and I waited the whole year. I will say the only thing
That's a little
really
odd.
like missed was chicken nuggets. I really missed those. But yeah,
I couldn't go vegetarian.
And you stopped it after a year?
Yeah, I did, and I would do it again. Honestly, I've considered it. It's just that when you don't buy your own food, it's kind of difficult. Like, my family would have dinner, and I'd have to make something different. But when
did you go vegetarian, or did you still eat fish?
I don't really like fish unless it's sushi, but at that point I hadn't really tried sushi, so
Okay.
I really didn't
sushi
eat meat.
Because, like, some people don't consider fish meat.
It's my favorite food, too. It's literally so good.
Oh, yeah. I like some of it, not
Jamie,
all of it.
Jamie, come on.
Some of it has a weird texture.
Fair enough, but I'm really
And
weird
the
about
seaweed,
fish.
the seaweed portion sometimes is really...
Quiet.
Well, it
really-
depends on where you get it from, too. I like
Like I
expensive
said, like
sushi.
some of it I like. Emily makes me eat it sometimes, and some of it I like. I've tried. I couldn't tell you what it was because she always orders. And some
It's
of it, but like
good.
some of it I did like. Some of it was good, but some of it I didn't like as much. Like, it just like. So, like, I don't think I'd order it because I have no idea what I'd order. But, like,
yeah,
if it's
an
there, I'll
acquired
eat
taste,
some
I will
of it.
say that. Not everybody likes it,
Yeah.
but I'm super weird about fish. Like, I will not eat cooked fish at all. Like, if you give me
Really?
cooked fish, I'm not going to touch it. But if you give me some raw sushi, I will eat it all up. I hate cooked fish. I think it's
not
nasty.
duck, but okay. Like, whatever works for you, I say go
But
for.
when I
But
was
yeah,
vegetarian, I didn't
Speaking
really...
of duck, I've had duck.
I haven't. Had duck.
I don't like to eat strange animals, personally. But that's
Duck's not a
I've also
strange
had
animal.
bugs.
Well, I don't like to eat animals that you don't typically... I don't like to eat animals at all. Maybe I am still vegetarian at heart, because I really try to avoid it. Most of the time, I only eat chicken anyways. Yeah.
I don't know.
What's the strangest food you've eaten?
Probably just, like, squid.
The squid wasn't bad. I liked the
good.
squid
Or
when we
eel.
ate squid. And the jellyfish wasn't bad.
You had
either.
jellyfish?
Yeah, it was like a jellyfish
Oh my
salad.
gosh.
I think it was jellyfish salad. That one wasn't bad. It was like it's kind of an odd texture, but it tasted pretty good, and it was like a cucumber salad kind of thing. It was that I liked. Now that extra fermented, like the thing I keep calling a rotten egg that Emily keeps yelling at me that wasn't really a rotten egg. That thing was gross. I didn't like that.
I'm curious as to what it is. I'm gonna
Well,
ask
it was
Emily.
it was like a hard boiled egg that was then like fermented. So like it had the like was like and it had been like fermented for so long that it had like a Jello.
You get this at a
consistency.
restaurant?
It was like
Or did Emily make this
no,
for
it was
you?
it was at a restaurant. I would not
Those
have.
have a name.
I would- Yeah,
They're
it's
called like century-old eggs or whatever.
yeah, 100-year-old eggs. That's what it was. It was a 100-year-old
that
egg.
sounds awful.
And I keep so it was just
That's nasty.
and like taste wise, it really didn't taste like anything other than like vinegar and a hard boiled egg. But texture wise, it was so like gummy, rubbery, whatever. And because it's Asian, you don't like cut things. You don't use your knife. You use like so it's like this whole giant thing. Yeah, I know I keep doing this. But like so it was like pop it all in your mouth at once. And I'm going to tell you straight up, Robin's daughter is a liar. She sat across from me at that table and she said, no, Jamie, it's not that bad. I promise it's fine. And I ate that stupid thing and it was super gross and ugly. And then she laughed at me because she said, yeah, they made me do it. I had to make you do it. So
That's funny.
yeah, no. But the jellyfish was pretty good. And I liked squid when we had squid. That was a different night. But I liked the squid.
Squid is good. I've had it on sushi.
The squid was better than I expected it to be. Like, that one was pretty good.
My aunt moved to North Carolina, and she's been having a lot of strange food at restaurants down there.
What kind of strange food do North Carolinians eat?
Apparently a lot. But
I would assume it's mostly normal, except maybe add in a little extra
fish, seafood.
Like, seafood or
yeah, well, it was
like
a baby octopus.
Spices.
Like, it was a baby octopus, and it was like full, if that makes sense. Like, it was the whole thing.
Didn't, like, it wasn't just like the legs or anything.
No,
it
it was the entire thing, and her boyfriend ate it. Like, I could not imagine the texture of that.
I can't do an animal if an animal is still looking at me. No. Like, I eat a lot of, like, I'm fine with meat.
I'm even uncomfortable at, like,
I'm fine with
the turkey
I'm
there.
fine with the fact that, you know, like, because, like, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to eat animals. But, like, I think there's a humane way to do it and not,
this
you know,
took
so, like,
a weird turn.
It did, but like, I can't do it if the animal's looking at me, I can't do it. And I can't be the one to raise the if I raise it, it's gonna be my pet forever.
Right.
Like, that's just the way it is. But, like,
it's like that
I understand and I respect the need for people who do, like, raise that and do, like,
it's like the Little Mermaid when, like, Sebastian gets in the... Have you ever seen The Little Mermaid?
No.
Oh, and the chef goes after him with the, like, the cleaver.
And then he's sitting on the table and she lifts it up.
Yeah, no, I can't, with the eyeballs. I can't do it with you looking at me.
What's the strangest food you've ever had?
When I was in China, I had fried cicada.
What's that?
It's like the bug? The grasshopper?
The big
grasshopper.
grasshopper.
Oh, yeah.
Bug?
I had a bug before. I was in a sucker. I got it in Amish country. Don't ask me.
Mine was like...
In biology in high school, you could earn bonus points by eating chocolate-covered crickets, which, you know, are this big, and I did not earn bonus points that day. I did not eat a cricket.
Honestly,
I
they
couldn't
weren't
do
that
it.
bad.
I just couldn't do it. That's what everybody said, but I couldn't do it.
Was it like chocolate covered or
No, it was fried.
Oh, fried. You said that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if you feed me something and I don't know what it is, I'm probably going to eat it and think it's okay. But as soon as you tell me, or it's a bug, or as soon as I can see it's like a bug,
If you just give it to me, I might be fine. But if I look at it or know what it is, no, thank you.
Can't do it.
I
chop it up and mix it in with something, I wouldn't notice.
I reacted strangely because the first time I had it, I was like, I know what this is, and I was like a bit hesitant, but then I had it, and I was like, hey, this isn't that bad, and so I asked for more, and then they gave me more, and for some reason it was a lot harder to get down the second time.
You've been to China though? That's cool.
Yeah. I lived in China for 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah, from August 2019 until March 2020.
That's cool. I knew
you came home at just the right time to stay at home for 9 months.
Exactly.
I was thinking about quarantine earlier. I kind of miss it. When I was having my little self-care moment,
I don't know about that.
I miss it so much because so many hobbies that I haven't picked up since quarantine, since I've been home all the time. I miss it so much, like every single day.
I spend so much of my time here that, like, nothing at my house gets done except I turn into a vegetable and I go to bed. Like, that's basically it. Like, that's all I do at home. And it was really nice when we were... My job can't be done from home. But, like, the nice thing about when I was working, like, when I was doing half days here and half days at home, like, it was so nice because I did some quilting, I did some organizing, I cooked dinner like every night. I ate like a real human and not like a crazy I'm tired, I just want to go to bed gremlin, which usually turns into like a whole bag of tortellini, which is not the best. You know what I mean?
Like,
it's just
we
like
should, as a society, like, do 1 year quarantine, 1 year not. Like, it's so beneficial.
I don't think I could do a whole year. I think if I was forced to stay at home for like an extended weekend once a month, I think that would be really good for my mental health.
Maybe it would. Maybe it's less extreme than a year, but I still miss it. Because how many hobbies? And
but
it's good for the environment, too.
I couldn't... It was, yes. But I couldn't... I went a little crazy. I mean...
You're always crazy.
But I went a little extra crazy. And, like, I was so bored, I started walking. which is good for me.
Perfect.
But, like, I was like, I gotta do something. I can't just sit here any longer. Like, it was awful.
See-
Like, I'm not a big fan of people, but I think that's mostly because I spend all day with people. But, like, spending all day alone at home was just as bad. Like, there's gotta
It's
be
like
a balance of...
It's like you start to like yourself.
See-
We're the opposite.
See,
I loved it,
Thing
personally.
thing is, I during that time of quarantine and all that is the time when I found out I do like people and like spending time with people.
That was inconvenient.
And so,
Mhm.
so it kind of like right as I found that out, I was like deprived, and so that didn't do great for
No. I
the
can't
old
imagine.
Yeah, that's what-
Sam's mental health.
And well, that's what I had said too. Like, I had been joking for years. I have no life because
Yeah.
I go to work, I go to school functions for you guys, I go to work. Like, that's basically. Thank you very much. That's basically all I do. And then, like, I was sent home and everything shut down and nobody did anything, and I was like, well, geez, I think I had more of a life than I thought I did. Because, like, I got sent home and I was bored and I wasn't doing anything.
I was
and I
never
was like,
bored.
it was like, well, because, like, I would be at work or I'd be doing things or, like, I'd go to the school for all this, like, I got this giant list of things I'm always at the school for. And
I
Yeah.
think I
then the
read
school
like
wasn't
200
doing
books.
anything. And
Oh my lord!
Yeah, I read a lot during COVID.
probably,
Because
yes.
I didn't. Well, I had a lot of things to do, but also like I didn't have a job because I was like 14. I didn't have a job yet, so I just sat there and read books. And my parents, they didn't want to hear me talk, so obviously they would just buy me more. And you can order them off Amazon, so it was nice. But I was never really bored. I think I would love it if we went back. Like, I think about it
I don't think I
sometimes.
could do that.
I couldn't.
I don't know if honestly, mentally, I don't think I could be forced back home to do virtual things that nobody wants to do.
Yeah,
To then
maybe
come
minus
back
that whole
To
thing.
then come back in and try to rebuild things again.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
at this point, I have now built our teen program like 1.5 times. Because I
Yeah.
built it the first time, and we were on a really good roll, and things were going really well, and then we all got sent home, and it almost completely died.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
Yeah, I mean,
I
A lot of
don't.
things
we went from like 17 people to 7 people to 3 people
Mm-hmm.
in the course of 12 months. It was
Yeah.
insane. And then to rebuild it again, rebuilding it the second time was easier than it was the first time because this time I knew what I was doing, kind of, maybe, sort of.
A little bit.
A little bit more than I did the first time.
Yeah.
But it just, like, I don't think I could. I think if I had to try to do that all over again, I think I would sit down and cry, and I don't think I'd get back up. I just don't think I'd get back up. I'm done.
On top of the stuff with like seeing other people, I am a lot worse with actually like getting work done at home. Like at school, I can easily like sit down and just brute force it, go through all my work. But at home, that is so much harder for me.
Oh yeah, I had a really hard time. I have trouble doing that too, being self-motivated to do things without some sort of like check and balance system of other people. I noticed that I took like 2 online classes when I was in college just because it was the only way I could fit it into my schedule. That was like the hardest thing I did was because I was like, well, you got 3 weeks, Jamie. Like, you don't have to do it right now. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, oh no, it's all right now. I have to do it all in the same day. It's just it's easier to.
My one online class in high school I've had is my only B.
Yeah.
Everything else is an A except that one
I
online
like
class.
it. I think I'm so much more self-motivated because it's no
It does
secret.
work
I
really
don't
well
like being
for-
told what to do.
No, you
so if I get to tell myself what to do, I love it. And
Mhm.
that's what I love about online school is because, well, it's not like COVID where we had to actually go to meetings and stuff.
Mhm.
I get to just do my work and it's due at the end of the week. But I like to just be able to do what I want when I have to do it and then do other things in my life. It's very
Well, yeah.
nice.
See, I'm old enough. We didn't have like a Zoom classes or anything. It
Yeah.
was just like you had certain days you had to do discussion boards, and certain days you had assignments due, and certain it was like. But it was mostly just like, this is the work. Do it by this certain time, and without the like physical act of being somewhere at a certain time to do something.
Right.
It's my brain's like, oh, you have time, you can do it later. Oh, you have time, you can do it later. And the next
Yeah.
thing I know, I'm like 3 weeks late on everything. It's horrible.
Well,
like
get
I
anxious.
can't.
Like as soon as the work is assigned, I feel like I need to get it done. That's why I got all of my work done for the first week in the first day. Like, I have to get it done, otherwise
See, I would
my
do
brain
that,
is
like, once.
it's late. It's late already. I can't do it. I can't
And then
do
I
it.
was like, well, that's dumb, Jamie. Why'd you do that? And then I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then, so, like, I just, like, there's, no, I can't. I
But-
just
yeah.
can't.
Well, college is so different, too, for me, because in
I'm
high
so
school...
excited for college.
Yeah.
It's so much more fun.
But in
It's,
high school,
it's
I was
so much
like,
better than high school. High school's
always
dumb.
worried about my grades, and like I constantly needed to have an A, constantly needed to be perfect. I got a 70 on a quiz, and I almost like did a cartwheel. I was so happy that I got a 70 because I did not pay attention at all. But I was like, okay, let's go. It's crazy. I have 2 B's right now, and honestly, I couldn't be more proud of myself because that's just how it is. College is so much different in that way.
Mhm.
Speaking of college, I'm going to tell the story of how I got lost.
I was going to ask, are you going to do the I got lost story?
Yes.
Because it's a really good one.
So I had to go to the OSU campus in Mansfield to go get my textbook, and I got lost because I went to the bookstore, and I had to get like a code for my book, I guess, but I had to go get a voucher. So they sent me halfway across campus to go get a voucher for my textbook.
And Jamie would like to point out that the size of this campus
It's just confusing.
is small. Like, it's a small campus in a mostly
But if you
enclosed...
don't know where you are,
In a mostly enclosed area, I would have gotten lost because that's my kind of person. That's my personality.
See?
I would have gotten lost. But like for those of you listening, this is not a giant
no, it's really not.
Yeah.
like
No.
campus where everybody gets lost. It's
Just-
more of a
Just me. I just got lost. Well, because she wasn't very clear, she told me the building name. And all of the building names are weird and they sound the same. So,
and they all look identical.
yes, they do.
And they
So
only
I
ever
walked
have the
in.
name on one side of it, so you'd have to walk
Exactly.
around the whole building before you found it.
Before I went into the wrong building, I tried 4 different doors to get into said building, and they were all locked, and I was really embarrassed until I found the main door. And then I went in there, and it was like dorms. Like, I was not in the right place at all. It was so bad. Like, people were sitting there, like, doing schoolwork, and then I ended up finding it. But it was a struggle, and I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm very scared for big kid college, where the campuses are actually really big, and I have to know where things are.
Big kid college.
Speaking
And
of
eventually
which,
you learn where everything is, and it's not so scary. But yeah, no, I did get lost once trying
As
to
someone
find
who's
the
gone on
head of the
on-
department. I was a
Where's like
freshman.
some big colleges? There is a lot.
yeah, I just scheduled my first college visit, actually.
Nice.
Oh, where you
Where?
going?
I just scheduled a visit for Kent.
Nice.
They have a lot of cool things, including for the program I'm looking at, it's like an art history thing. And they have this program where you can do a 5-week course in Italy. And it's really awesome. And they offer them in New York and Washington, D.C. too. But the lady said it would be like a personalized tour, which would be very cool. I'm very excited. And she's going to show me like the museum they have there and a bunch of different art exhibits. So I'm very excited for that.
That would be really cool.
And I won't get lost because somebody will be showing me where things are.
That is nice. And a lot of times, if you're planning ahead for like graduate programs, a lot of schools, now I don't know how many, or at least Pennsylvania schools, I don't know, Ohio sometimes does weird things, but a lot of schools, if you got your bachelor's degree with them,
Yeah.
they don't make you take the, what is it, the GRE,
Mhm.
the
Agree.
yeah, the thing you got to take in order to get into grad schools.
Yeah, and that's
they don't
why...
make you take that test. Like they don't make you submit scores for that because
Right.
like you've already been one of their kids. So like,
which is
you're,
why I want to
yeah,
go to
you
Kent.
then you just like step right into the graduate program of your choice, which is
Yes.
kind of nice.
I'm very I hope that, like, that's the plan tentatively, like, assuming nothing changes or I can get in. We'll see how it goes, but that would be nice because they have the graduate program that I want to go into, and it looks like they would accept my CCP credits, which not everywhere does.
No, that is a nice thing.
Yeah.
Everywhere says they do, but not everywhere actually
No.
does. There's
But-
a lot of
So we'll see how I like the area and the campus, but I'm very excited. The lady was super excited that I told her what I wanted to go into, and like she was just really enthusiastic. It was nice, but like I said, very scared of big kid campuses because I get lost very easily.
eventually you figure out what you're doing and it's not so bad.
I'm so bad with directions. When I was a little kid, I followed a horse home. It was
What?
so bad.
Wait a minute, you followed a horse home?
Okay.
Hold on.
Fun,
What?
interesting little fact. It was the Bicycle Day Parade, the parade that they do in town. And I was in it, riding my bicycle, all decorated for the 4th of July. And there was like a whole group of us. And my grandma told me where to meet her at the end. And she must have told me like a building name or something because I had no idea what she was talking about. But there was a horse. and I was behind the horse, and I followed it halfway across town from where we live. I just kept following it.
Why'd the horse walk across town?
I don't know. The horse was probably going back.
The horse was
home.
probably in the parade, and the horse was then headed back to wherever they started to get
Was
in
there
the
a
trailer to
person
go home
guiding
or
the
going
horse?
home.
I think it was just going. Well, obviously there was a person on the horse.
Well,
But
but
It was
I was
not where we
thinking
were
it was
supposed
just
to.
a
I think
random horse walking.
my grandma was probably
through
waiting like halfway through the parade route or something like that, like to get
Mm-hmm.
me. But no, and I didn't have a phone at the time because I was probably like 8 years old. And I know it sounds kind of irresponsible on her part, but there were like 15 of us 8-year-olds just riding our little decorated bikes for the
the
parade.
end of the parade is always kids on bikes, and you stay with the parade. I will meet
Not
you
me.
at the end. Don't go anywhere that isn't with these people.
Not me. I followed a horse. Yeah.
And there's usually a couple of grown-up people who kind of sort of keep an eye on things.
I don't know how
But-
it happened, but I'm so bad with directions. So when I got my license, it was awful. I can't tell you how many times. Just a couple weeks ago, I ended up at Polaris on accident.
How do you accidentally end up at Polaris? Like, where were you going?
I was at work in Sunbury.
Okay.
So my aunt sent me to Starbucks right across the street. Like, literally right across the street.
Across the street.
Right across the street. And so I
Or,
turned...
like, in sight.
Yes, like you could see it right across the street. I turned...
How'd you do that?
Listen, I turned right.
Like, even I can visually see where I'm at.
Let me explain myself. So I turned right, and then it was like, right turn only. You can't leave. You're here now. You can't go anywhere else. So I turned right onto the highway. I turn onto the highway, and you can't turn around except for the little, like, police officer watching spot.
Well, yeah, but you just get off the next exit. Is
Yes.
Polaris the next exit
Polaris
from
was
Sunbury?
the next exit. So
Okay.
it took me like 15 minutes. And then once I finally got off on the exit, keep in mind, I was driving her car and I had no idea how anything worked. Like, I pulled over to the side so I could call her, and I couldn't even find the hazard button. Like, I was panicking, and it was like 6 a.m. It was so early and so dark outside. It was terrifying. And then I finally reached the exit, and then in order to get back onto the highway, I had to go on a roundabout. And
Yeah.
they do not teach us those in driver's
They don't
ed.
teach
They do
anybody
not.
those in drive. I am always
But they're
convinced.
not
I'm
that
getting.
hard.
I'm
They're
getting
not.
better. They aren't. They really aren't. And I am getting better at them. But I am still. Every time I see one coming up, or
It's
the GPS
terrifying.
says something about it, I'm like, I am going to be the idiot who spends all day going in a circle
Literally.
because I can't figure out how to get out of this dumb thing.
That's how it
Like,
was. Well, I ended up, because there's nobody else there,
Yeah.
and I've driven through so many in like the year and a half that I've had my license, but it's still difficult. And every time I go to a 4-way stop, I get panicky. I'm
Me
actually
too.
so...
I-
Well,
I
that
get
one's
scared
tricky
at a
because
four-way
everybody
stop.
knows that you're supposed to go in the order of how you got there.
Yeah.
Like, take turns. But I don't always trust the other people
Exactly.
Exactly. So
to
you're like,
let
I
me,
don't know.
to let me take my turn or to take their turn when they're supposed to. Like, it's just
It's
like...
terrifying. 'cause
And
you
so
can't
then you
control
play
them.
this, like, weird game of, like, who's gonna go...
Uh-huh.
Like, you're supposed to go!
Yeah, and then when they like wave you on, and you're like, no. Or one time somebody waved me on, but I didn't think it was my turn, so I told him no. Like, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. No thanks. It's so awkward. Me driving is so funny. I should start recording a podcast just of me driving, because no, I couldn't do that. There'd be too many bad words. I couldn't
Well,
do
I
it.
mean, you could. You can set your limits at, like,
Nobody
you know,
would want to listen to that.
what it is and what not. We
It's
just have ours set
terrifying.
at, you know, library appropriate because
Like,
we're supposed to.
Sometimes I land up like halfway across town. Sometimes I'm like going backwards. I can't. It's so
Going
bad.
backwards.
Oh my gosh, it's interesting. But speaking of podcasts, I love podcasts. Not necessarily podcasting. I mean, this is okay. I don't mind it, but I love to listen to them when I'm in the car or when I'm at my house just doing things.
I do have a couple
Same.
I really like to listen to, and
I
I got a
have-
whole.
I have
got
two I
like
really like.
I've got like 7 or 8 of them that I really want to try. I just haven't gotten around to it
Yeah.
yet.
Well, I was talking to my friend a couple days ago, and I was telling her about the podcast I was listening to. And I was like, oh, the girl on my podcast told me. And I kept referring to her as if we were like friends, as if we
Well,
were having a
yes.
conversation, because that's how it feels. It's so personal. It feels like you're having a conversation with the person, even though you're not talking back. I mean,
Sometimes
maybe
I
you
do,
are.
but I do that to the
Maybe
TV,
you
and I
are.
do that to, the computer. I do that
sometimes
to every...
sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a really good point. I love podcasts because it's like a friend. It's like a little conversation with a friend, and you can listen to whatever you want. And something about it to me just feels like intellectual in a way. Like I feel like it's more productive because most of the time there's something like moral.
Well, yeah,
or
it's like exactly. I'm not just watching TV. I'm listening to a even though like at least 2 of the ones that I actually listen to and like 4 of the ones I want to listen to are TV show recaps or like rewatches. So like, but it's still like we're listening and we're talking and we're behind the scenes and we're doing stuff. It's not just watching the TV.
The 2 podcasts I always listen to are both comedy podcasts. So I don't get anything from either of them.
But does it still make you feel that way? Do you still feel like you're doing something more productive than like watching TV?
I feel less bad about myself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of the ones I haven't listened to it in a while, but I had to do a podcast like project freshman year, and I listened to it.
Podcasting.
Yes. It was really
Yeah.
cool. But the podcast
That's a fun one.
the one I listened to is called Mortified, and they had these different people submit their diary and journal entries from middle school.
Oh,
And it was so funny. And a lot of them were from like the 90s because I think there's like older people that would submit them. But it was so
Older.
Well, yeah,
funny.
in order to be like past the point of middle school, to find it
Exactly.
funny and not embarrassing.
Yeah,
But
you have
embarrassing,
to
but
be
embarrassing in a
old.
funny way. You have to be older.
But they were so funny because like some of the language they would use, or like they talk about their little crushes and stuff. It was so funny. And sometimes I still just listen to it, but the one I mainly listen to is Emma Chamberlain's. She's a YouTuber, but she hasn't posted YouTube lately. But she does like lifestyle or like event related things. And the one she makes them every Thursday, and I look forward to them. Like, I sit there and listen to a 30-minute thing. Like, sometimes I'll go on a car ride just so I can listen to her podcast. But mostly they're about, like, life things. The one recently was about social media and the whole idea of, like, pictures or it didn't happen. And she was talking about how she was at a concert and everybody there was recording the concert, like, rather than just watching it.
See, I'm so bad. I never remember to take pictures. I'm too busy enjoying myself
There
I never remember to take pictures. And then
But
I get
that's
mad.
not a bad thing.
And then I get mad because, like, I don't have... Like, I don't need a picture of every minute, but if I had to, like, a couple pictures, like when we went to Baltimore and D.C., I think all of my pictures are from the aquarium. Like, and I've got, like,
It's
2 pictures of DC. Like,
Of all things in DC, the aquarium.
Well, that's the opposite problem than what she was talking about. Because she was, like, for another example, like, somebody singing happy birthday to a person. Instead of, like, just singing it and enjoying the moment, people would record it so they don't, like, lose the moment. So they would have the memory, if that makes sense. But it was really enlightening. That's why I love listening to those, because it's so interesting.
Yeah, I do. I enjoy, like I said, most of mine are, like, TV show recap, rewatch things, which are fun.
I've never
Even if you're
heard
rolling-
one of those.
I really like Pod Meets World. That's the Boy Meets World one.
Oh, okay.
That one's really, really good. I really enjoy that one. That one's been fun. They're on season 2.
Do you just listen to, like, the episode recap? Or do you
they
watch it and then listen to it?
Well, in theory, I was supposed to watch it as we went, so I could remember them. Not that I don't remember them, because I do. But I sat down to do it, and I spent like 2 weeks staying on track, and then I just watched all of them.
Yeah,
Because I have no self-control. I just watched all of them. But they do 2 a week, where they do one where they have a guest and they talk about the episode and they talk about like behind the scenes stuff, and then they have one where they recap the episode. So like
that is such a niche podcast.
It's
like, really specific.
It's so much fun. I really like it, and they're doing a good job with it.
What are the comedy ones you listen to about?
One is called Distractable, and that's 3 lifelong friends who are also YouTubers.
Oh, I think I've heard of that one, actually.
Yeah. And they have this, like, game show-esque thing where
yeah, I've heard of
one
that
hosts and they, like, make up a point system, stuff like that. And then the other one has a great name. It's called Huckle sandwich.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Chuckle sandwich.
That's a good pun. I like that.
Yeah, I would listen to that. Those sound
And-
good.
And that one doesn't really have a central theme. It's just like some friends who are also YouTubers talking about random stuff, and it's very like specific to my sense of humor. So.
Yeah. You have to be
Yeah.
really funny for that, because in order to just talk and not have like a theme or like a specific thing that people like, you have to be really funny or
Yeah.
really
Right,
interesting.
Again, it's very specific to my humor. I don't know if either of you share my humor, so I don't know if you'd really enjoy it. But
podcasts in general are just good. I enjoy them very much,
yeah.
especially if I have a long drive, which doesn't happen often.
Yeah, they
but
are nice for that.
Yes. Okay, moving on. I thought it would be nice to talk about books. Sam says that he doesn't have many to talk about, which is
Have you
fair.
ever read anything?
Yes.
Well, there you go. We're good.
I have read a couple things myself.
Only a couple? Is that what we're gonna go with? We're
Yeah.
gonna go with a couple?
But I want to talk about the one I'm reading right now. I was telling Jamie about this yesterday. It's kind of sad. It's called You've Reached Sam. Funny pun. But not funny because he dies.
I really think I bought
mean,
this book.
I mean, I will die eventually.
For
so.
us.
Maybe, but that's not important right
Maybe.
now. That's besides the point. Anyways, so it's called You've Reached Sam. And the whole plot is that this guy named Sam dies. And his girlfriend has to cope with that. And they end up like connecting between worlds via their phones. They're calling. At least that's what they're doing right now. Like I think that eventually they start to text. But they're on the phone right now, and it's kind of weird because the whole thing is how I imagine like a dream. Like it just doesn't really make sense. Like it doesn't feel like it's happening in a reality. Because one moment she's in the coffee shop, one minute she's like in her driveway. It's really strange, but it's very good, very sad, and it's making me sad a little bit.
Well,
So
that's just
I'm trying
a
to
good
get
book.
through it quickly so I can be done with it, because sad books make me sad. Like I always take on the mood of whatever book I'm reading. I also have this thing where I like to take on the characters and the personality traits.
I have that problem sometimes too. Yes.
It's like I don't have my own personality and I just take on theirs. So I'm like a collection of like every single book I've ever read, of the good ones at least. But so when I move on from that one, I am gonna read Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I've heard that one's very good. I started a TBR cart. For those of you who don't know book lingo, that's to be read.
Half my house is TBR. It's just like
I saw a T-shirt on Etsy and it said "Death by TBR," which I thought was kind of funny.
That is funny.
I spent a lot of time on Etsy this morning, but I created a TBR cart, so I think I have like 12 books on it right now, because I'm gonna get through all those and then put new ones. Some people put a lot more, but I can't do that because I like to read based on my mood, like I said. So sometimes I'm just not gonna be in the mood.
I spend a lot of time
won't pick
like
it
I
up.
buy them because I really want to read it, and then I don't get it read in the time frame that fits, and then I'm like, okay, fine. I guess we'll
Exactly.
wait. And so like then it sits on my shelf for 2 years before I get around to it.
Yeah,
again.
until you're in that mood again.
Yeah.
Yes, but I have those. I have like the 12 on there, and it's funny because most of my book recommendations, or like books that I think I'm gonna read, come from Book Talk, a subcategory on TikTok.
Yes.
But I recently deleted TikTok. Like I said, as part of my
As you should.
New Year's resolution, I was trying to establish better habits. And prior to deleting it, I spent 24 hours a week on TikTok. So, yeah, it was a lot. It was really bad. So I deleted
That's too
that.
many hours.
I know, which is why I deleted it. And I thought that I would have an issue, like, with not having book recs. But I realized that I'm continuously buying books, and I have over 400. So I have a lot that I'm never going to, like, run out of books I need to read or, like, book ideas. So
I have
it hasn't been bad.
plenty of books that I don't want anymore. Few free books.
Good to know, thank you. But what was I saying? So after
Books.
that, yeah, basically. I could go on forever about books. But after I move on from those, we'll see what happens. But, what I was going to say was that I have Instagram still. And I have a separate book Instagram, a bookstagram, if you will.
A bookstagram.
That's what we book people call it.
I like that.
We book people.
Yes. So I have a bookstagram where I post reviews and I get like I'll post recommendations or I'll post just like book content. If you want to follow it, it's at Hannah's Bookish Life. Free promo right there. But it's actually very fun because I get lots of book recs, because sometimes I'll watch reels, which I know is kind of like cheating the whole not watching TikTok thing, but I don't spend
That's why I don't need
time.
TikTok. I don't need TikTok because I have Instagram, and everything on
Exactly.
TikTok eventually ends up on Instagram.
It just takes a little time. But
Which
I
is
still
fine.
get the book recommendations, and it's really cool because more authors have been interacting with me ever since I've started my account. You know, if you post a review of an author's book, sometimes they'll interact with it, like even just like it. But there's, like, no better feeling than that, especially when I was younger and I didn't really have, like, I don't know, like, I was a fangirl of authors, and when they would
there
like
are
it...
worse people to be fangirling
I was
over.
like, yeah, that's true.
Like, I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, if you're gonna go super crazy over something, I feel like it's better to go super crazy over, like, a book than some of the other stuff. It's like, when everybody always used to make fun of and get really concerned about all the people who were, like, lining up for Harry Potter books and, like, oh my god, you people were crazy. Like,
They're
really?
worse things.
Like, here's the
It could
thing.
be
Are
like
you
Jeffrey
really...
Dahmer or something.
Exactly. Like, are you really excited about a book, or are you on drugs? Like,
yeah, exactly.
what's the... why are you complaining about
Yeah.
books? Books are always going to be a good idea. Like,
Never a bad idea.
no.
But Bookstagram is very nice, and it's been a lot better usage of my time because it encourages me to read. And I'm hoping to read a lot more this year. I already have than last year. I'm already ahead on my Goodreads goal because last year I only read 13. It was
I still can't believe you
all-time low for
only
me.
read 13 books last year.
It was-
I think that's gotta be pushing, like, what I read. And I don't
I know.
read adult books.
It was
I mean,
bad.
I read, like, 9.5 on vacation. So, like, I read my whole year's worth in, like, 4 days.
Oh my gosh, 9.5?
Yeah.
Jamie.
Wait, 4 days?
On vacation?
Yeah.
Jamie.
Why weren't you vacationing?
Well, I did vacation, but I buy vacation specifically so that I can read.
Okay.
But like, I go down to Hocking Hills, and it was what I do 4 or 5 days this year, and it was either 7.5 or 9.5. It was a stupid number of books because I finished a book I had been reading all summer, and then I read like at least one book per day. Plus, there were a couple that I read like half this night and half this morning, and then like rounded some things out, and I read so many. It was so nice. Oh my God,
I
it was
never
so
do
much
that.
fun.
I'm a very slow reader, so.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
I have to know what happens next, so I just keep going.
Yeah.
And then a
It's
lot of
kinda
times
like-
I have to, that's why rereading is sometimes fun, because I'm like, oh!
I don't remember
that makes more sense now!
Yeah.
I totally missed that the
I
first
think,
time.
like, the older I get, the slower at reading I become. Just because I like to take it in more, and because I don't have as much time with work and things like that. But I appreciate them a lot more.
I did finally finish Tom Felton's book, and that
Oh,
took,
yeah.
I did finish it, it's so good. I started it, well, I bought it when it first came out, and then it sat in my living room for, I think, a month or so. So, like, I've been reading it since, like, November-ish,
Yeah.
December-ish, but I don't get a lot of time to read and stuff, so usually I just read, like, on Sundays when I go to Bob Evans for breakfast.
Yeah.
And, like,
Oh, Bob Evans.
I know, they're
I
the
love
best.
Bob Evans.
and
Why is your status on Instagram about Bob Evans cornbread?
It's banana bread. Thank
Oh,
you very
sorry.
much. Because it's
Sorry.
good. I love
but yeah,
it.
I did finally finish that, so that one was a
Celebrity
good one.
books are always hit and miss for me.
It really just depends on them.
And
I don't always
if
like
they're
them, but-
able to write. And sometimes I feel like they don't write it themselves. Like, more often than not. I'm like,
a lot of
There's-
times they
did
probably
There's a
did they
lot of
even write that?
ghostwriters out there.
yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
the
no.
one I added to my Amazon cart was Prince Harry's book. I've heard that one's pretty good. I watched a little bit of the
I don't understand why
Meghan
everyone's
thing.
so obsessed with
Meghan and Harry thing on Netflix.
the royal
Okay, so here's
family.
the thing.
I don't.
I feel like it's
I
like
don't
The thing.
care
I got
about
opinions,
them.
and
It's, like,
I have
twisted.
opinions that I haven't like watched or read stuff, but I got opinions.
share them.
Okay,
We are
so
38
like,
minutes
yes,
in, but-
no, we're fine. We can go for a little bit.